and blue a little bit. Not quite as bad as it was yesterday morning. Hence the hat, hence the coat. But here we are nevertheless. And signs of blue sky. But I don't want to draw too much attention and jinx it. Nevertheless. Oop, magpie, morning Mr. Magpie. What have we got? Anything of interest? Did we just go past? No, we didn't. We're still on the way. So we are approaching a little path that leads from the back street I'm on up to the path that leads along the edge of the hill. Now that edge of the hill, with all its woodland up there, is known to have bats and owls, and was way back in the day used as a filming location for Sharpe, as in Sean Bean doing the Napoleonic officer raised from the ranks. So yeah, yes, one more crossing here, and here is a major feature of a grit bin, as in council dump salt to put on the roads into those bins for people to use as and when the roads get too slippery. Yeah, that is the path up there that leads to the path that goes along the crest of the hill, what they use for a filming location for the episode in which Richard Sharpe comes back to England, comes back up north, meets his mother and his half brother. But yes, of course we all love a bit of Sharpie. Well, the clue is in the name there, Jamal. Trans people are people and therefore get the same rights. Hi, Insight Great Life. Hi, Heather Mark. Hi. Lydia. Hi. Well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So blue sky. You can see the summer is approaching. Somewhere beyond all those fluffy clouds. But there we go. Oh, Insight Great Life. Hello. Yeah, so we're walking home and we're about to go through a snicket, a little path between houses, public right of way. Yeah, legally speaking it's a road because two people could walk in opposite directions and pass each other. But yeah, describing it as a road, that's pushing the definition a little bit. There are various folk who have their domicile just off this little snicket. I don't know if you'd even call it a ginnel or gunnel or alley. But here we are, plenty of greenery here. Ah, a splash of colour. What we got? Primroses, daffodils, tulips, more tulips, more evergreens, and not sure what blossoms they are, but anyway, this is where the road thins to just a little bit of a path. Let's give you a view here. Not very wide across, and careful step to the side so you don't go in the middle of a puddle. Hey, yeah, so current time is approaching 9:15 GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So yeah, so the sun reaches us 5 hours before the sun reaches the east coast of the US and A, and 8 hours before the sun reaches the west coast of the USA. Well, roads are notoriously resilient. Philemonesafa. Hi, yeah, so we're just on his way home. Little shortcuts here, there and everywhere that generally develop as and when people start building. Now then, I'm not sure what variety of bird that box is for, or it may be a bat box. But yeah, as I say, the crest of the hill off to my left is known for having bats and or owls in it. Now, when I get to the end of here, we are going to have a very nice view of the other side of the dale, such that compared to yesterday when the weather was miserable and it wasn't worth having me phone out of my pocket. Oh, you have to go to bed as well, right? Sleep tight. That's strange, isn't it? Sleep tight. Why do they call it that? You know, those vagaries of language that I don't know if anybody has the origins to. Yes, we're currently approaching yet another grit bin. I keep saying grit bin, and it reminds me of a violent yellow hatchback that my wife used to have, because it too was violent yellow, nippy little sucker. It used to scare the bejesus off me with the manoeuvres she made it make. But anyway, yes, here is another grit bin. Yes, grit for the purpose of putting on roads as and when it gets icy. Because when the roads are icy on hills as steep as these are, then the cars, buses, lorry do have trouble getting up. But any road. Right, okay. Oh, the sun's nice over there. Let's point you in that direction to see if you can see. Pointing to where the windmills are going, off there in the distance. So yes. On we go. As I say, when I do the long way around, the steep bit that right next to Burke crests, and there's a long, not very steep bit all the way down home. So coming to work, a long, not very steep bit, and then steep going down, as opposed to coming home when it usually, if it's not too wet, that's when I go through the woods and show you the nice things in the greenery, Prince's Park. But anyway, that's interesting around here. Not a lot. Houses built into the side of the hill, such that the drives leading to have to be built on a slightly shallow gradient, pointing back the way down the hill, but this is where the post people get confused, so they have to put house numbers at the end of the drive next to the road to correspond with the house numbers that are on the actual houses. There's a nice view over there. No, seen that one already. And here we are approaching a building which was a Methodist church, but is now houses. Yorkshire, of course, being the origin of Methodism. I've been accused of being a Methodist, but never been in a Methodist chapel. What we on to? Any insignia on the said building? Not on this side. That's on the end. When we cross over here, we'll maybe get a better look. And crossing the road. Okay. We'll have a look over here. There we go. Built 1904, that Wesleyan Chapel, which is what, 112 years ago. Or it is written, in England 200 miles is a long way, but in America 200 years is a long time. This one, very well. Okay, and now we get to the end of the road, and we stop, look and listen. Okay, and here's a better view of the other side of the valley. Got some sunlight on it. This road being the border between the village up top and the town down here in the bottom. At which point we will continue till it gets to the next, yeah. So that's more you'd call a road, because tarmac. Again, it's tarmacked right up until it's at somebody's entrance gate. Emily, hi! Thanks for joining us. Yes, we're not doing something particularly interesting. We're just walking home right now along the public footpath. Yeah, so what we've got now definitely does not count as a road by most people, because not tarmac, but in theory two people would walk along it going opposite directions. But anyway, brambles, brambles, brambles. You just know in summer all the sides of this path are going to be bedecked with blackberries. Rubius something something something, related to the raspberry. Blackberries or brambles. Doing that. So and he said, again, the tarmac has returned, but it's a bit scrappy. Somebody is going to want to have that resurfaced. But anyway, yes, slight misnomer here. They call it a pavement, but it's not got paving stones, it's tarmacked. Invented in Scotland. Mr. Craze, hi! Thanks for joining us. We're just on a little jaunt back home after a night shift at work, which happens. So, pigeons, people's ferns. I don't know if everybody else does that. When you bring in a real Christmas tree at the end of Christmas, you go plant it in the garden. If it survives, then you've got a growing collection of Christmas trees in your garden. And we're now just approaching the Snicket, where I'm going to be turning Horft, and with a little hop, skip and a jump to Home Sweet Home, then breakfast, then bed. Wife's breakfast first, of course, because priorities. And I want to wake up with the same number of bollocks I started with. Kirich. Hi, Kirich. Hi, Ken. Yeah, so this fits more with the definition of a Snicket or Ginnel. Because you've got house, garden wall, path, garden wall, other house. because I remember when what is in front of me was all scrubland before they started building, and as soon as they did, every house looked identical. Yeah. So when there's a group of new houses identical, we time to call them Legoland. But anyway, what we've had. So we're coming up to 21 minutes, and that'll do us, I think. So we're just about to step on in home, and I will call it there. So as I always say, Alje jacta est.